Imagine a place, any place in nature. It could be a vast forest, it could be a single drop of water, or even a small garden in your backyard. In each of these places, there is a community of living things, plants, animals, fungi, tiny microscopic organisms. They interact with each other in remarkable ways, depending on one another for food, shelter, and survival. This intricate web of life is only one half of the story. The other half involves all the non-living things that surround them, such as the sunlight, the water, the soil, and the air. An ecosystem, in its simplest form, is this wonderful, busy community where living things and non-living things work together in a delicate balance. This partnership between the living or biotic elements and the non-living or abiotic elements. The plants use sunlight to make their own food through a process we call photosynthesis. Herbivores, the plant eaters, then come along to feast on these plants. After them come the carnivores, the meat eaters, which hunt the herbivores. And when any of these living things die, tiny decomposers break them down, like bacteria and fungi, returning vital nutrients to the soil. This cycle of energy and nutrients flowing through the system is the very engine that powers an ecosystem, ensuring that nothing goes to waste and that life can continue to flourish. Forests are some of the most majestic and complex ecosystems on our planet. They are defined by their most dominant feature, trees. These towering giants form a dense canopy overhead, creating a unique shaded world on the forest floor below. Forests are found all over the globe, from the cold northern regions with their coniferous trees like pines and firs, to the warm, humid tropics, home to an incredible diversity of broadleaf trees. Each type of forest is a world of its own, with a distinct character and a unique community of inhabitants that have adapted to its specific conditions. The structure of a forest is layered, much like a multi-story building. At the very top is the canopy, where tall trees capture most of the sunlight. Birds, monkeys, insects. Below this is the understory, a layer of smaller trees and shrubs that are adapted to living in lower light. Then we reach the forest floor, which is often dark and damp. Here, you will find ferns, mosses, and a thick layer of fallen leaves. This leaf litter is crucial, as it is where decomposers like fungi and worms work tirelessly to break down dead organic matter, recycling nutrients back into the soil for the trees to use again. The function of a forest ecosystem is a beautiful demonstration of nature's efficiency. They are often called the lungs of the earth because they produce enormous amounts of oxygen and absorb vast quantities of carbon dioxide. From the silent snow-covered boreal forests to the noisy, vibrant rainforests, these ecosystems are essential pillars of life. Grasslands are vast, open landscapes where grasses, not trees, dominate, found on every continent except Antarctica prairies, North America, steppes, Asia, pampas, South America, savannas, Africa. More rain than deserts, but not enough for dense forests. Dry seasons. Periodic fires keep trees at bay and let grasses thrive. Endless horizons and wide open skies. Landscape shaped by wind, fire, great herds of grazing animals. Main producers, grasses. Deep, intricate root systems anchor grasses in the soil. Roots help grasses survive droughts and fires. Roots create rich, fertile topsoil, much converted to farmland. Wildflowers and herbs among the grasses. Animals adapted to open environments. Large herbivores, bison, zebras, kangaroos, small burrowers, prairie dogs, mice. Grassland function is driven by grazing. Huge herds move, eating grasses and keeping them short. Grazing stimulates new growth and prevents dominance. Predators, lions, wolves, eagles. Fire is essential. Natural fires clear dead matter and allow new shoots from fire-resistant roots. Grasslands are vital for wildlife and people. Fertile soils produce grains, wheat, corn, rice. Deserts are often imagined as barren, empty places, but they are in fact vibrant ecosystems, teeming with life that has ingeniously adapted to extreme conditions. The defining characteristic of a desert is its lack of water. These are the driest places on Earth, receiving very little rainfall throughout the year. Deserts can be hot, like the Sahara in Africa, or cold, like the Gobi in Asia. The temperature can also swing dramatically, from scorching hot during the day to freezing cold at night. This combination of low water and extreme temperatures creates a challenging environment. forcing every living thing to develop remarkable strategies for survival. Plants, such as cacti and succulents, are masters of water storage. Cacti have thick, waxy skin to reduce water loss and spines instead of leaves to protect them from thirsty animals. Other plants might have very long roots that reach deep underground to find water, or they may have a very short life cycle, sprouting, flowering, and setting seed rapidly after a rare rainfall. Animals in the desert are often nocturnal, meaning they are active at night when it is cooler. Creatures like the fennec fox, kangaroo rat, reptiles, and insects spend the hot days in burrows or hidden in the shade. The function of a desert ecosystem revolves entirely around the conservation of water and energy. Every interaction is carefully calculated. The producers, the desert plants, grow slowly and protect their precious water fiercely. Still water ecosystems like ponds and lakes are fascinating worlds contained within a basin of land. The main difference between them is size. Ponds are smaller and shallower, while lakes are larger and deeper. In a pond, sunlight can often reach the entire bottom, allowing plants to grow all the way across. In a deep lake, sunlight only penetrates the upper layer of water, creating different zones with distinct conditions and inhabitants. These quiet bodies of water are like self-contained universes, where life unfolds at a different pace than in fast-flowing rivers or the vast oceans. Near the edge is the littoral zone, which is shallow and warm. Here you'll find rooted plants like water lilies and cattails providing shelter for fish, amphibians like frogs and insects. Further out is the limnetic zone, the open sunlit water at the surface dominated by tiny floating organisms called plankton. Phytoplankton, which are plants, zooplankton, which are animals, that form the base of the food web. Below this is the profundal zone, the deep, dark water where sunlight cannot reach. And at the very bottom lies the benthic zone, the mud and sediment home to decomposers and bottom-dwelling creatures. The function of a pond or lake ecosystem is a beautiful cycle of life, death, and renewal. The primary producers are the phytoplankton and the rooted plants, which create food from sunlight. This energy is then transferred to the zooplankton that graze on them. Rivers and streams are bodies of water that are constantly in motion, flowing in one direction across the land. They are like the arteries and veins of the landscape, collecting water from a wide area, known as a watershed, carrying it towards a lake, carrying it towards the ocean. Streams are smaller and are often the headwaters, the starting point of a river system, typically found in hills, typically found in mountains. As many streams join together, they form a larger, more powerful river. The character of a river changes dramatically along its journey: fast, cold, oxygen-rich stream; in the mountains, slow, wide, murky river on a flat plain. This continuous flow shapes the land and the life within it. The structure of a river ecosystem changes along its course. At its source, the stream is often narrow, fast-flowing, shaded by trees. The water is cool, clear, with high oxygen levels. The food web here is based on fallen leaves and other organic matter from the surrounding land. The main inhabitants are insects clinging to rocks, like mayfly larvae, and fish like trout that thrive in cold, oxygenated water. As the river moves downstream, it widens and slows. More sunlight reaches the water, algae, and aquatic plants. The ocean is the largest ecosystem on Earth, covering more than 70% of our planet's surface. It is a world of immense scale and power, from the sunlit, wave-tossed surface to the crushing darkness of its deepest trenches. The ocean is not one single ecosystem, but a collection of many different ones, each with its own unique conditions. These include vibrant coral reefs, mysterious deep-sea vents, the vast open ocean known as the pelagic zone. What unites them all is salt water, a key feature that dictates what kind of life can survive there. The ocean drives global weather patterns, regulates temperature, and plays a central role in the planet's health. The structure of ocean ecosystems is vast and varied, often defined by depth and light. The sunlit zone or euphotic zone is the top layer where sunlight can penetrate, allowing photosynthesis to occur. This is where you find phytoplankton, the microscopic plants that form the base of most marine food webs. This zone is home to a huge diversity of life, including fish, sharks, turtles, and marine mammals like whales and dolphins. Below this is the twilight zone, or dysphotic zone, where light is faint. Life here is scarcer and stranger. Deeper still is the midnight zone, or aphotic zone, which is in perpetual darkness. Here, animals have adapted to a life without light, often producing their own through bioluminescence. Estuaries are unique and incredibly productive ecosystems, found where fresh water from rivers and streams meets and mixes with salt water from the ocean. Bays, lagoons, salt marshes, mangrove forests are places of constant change. The salinity or saltiness of the water can change with the tides and the seasons. At high tide, salt water pushes inland, and at low tide, the fresh water from the river flows out towards the sea. This dynamic environment creates a special habitat that is not quite fresh water and not quite salt water, and the plants and animals that live here must be specially adapted to handle these fluctuating conditions. The structure of an estuary is defined by this mixing of waters. The bottom is typically made of deep layers of mud and sand, carried down by the river and deposited as the current slows. This mud is rich in nutrients, making estuaries one of the most fertile environments on the planet. This fertility supports dense growths of salt-tolerant plants, like salt marsh grasses or the tangled roots of mangrove trees. These plants provide critical habitat and shelter for a huge number of species. They act as nurseries for many types of fish and shellfish, offering a safe, nutrient-rich place for their young to grow before they head out to the open ocean. The function of an estuary is that of a natural nursery and filter. The abundance of nutrients and shelter makes them perfect breeding grounds.